The memory did not begin with destruction. It began with silence, the kind that only civilizations achieve when they have mastered everything except themselves. Laera and Naren stood at the edge of a vast architect metropolis, suspended across dimensions like a city half in dream, half in waking. Towers spiraled like unfurling shells. Bridges arced between floating districts. Rivers of light flowed through the air, carrying information, emotion, history. The city felt alive, but uneasy, as though the future was leaning toward them, waiting to break. The custodian's voice echoed through the realm. This is the 11th cycle, the last cycle the architects completed. Figures moved through the city. Beings made of condensed thought, shaped like humans only because humans needed a form to understand them. Their outlines flickered, complexities shifting beneath their surfaces like currents beneath water. Laera felt something deep and instinctual, a familiarity she could not explain. Naren exhaled softly. I remember this place, not as memory, as a resonance. It was as if a part of him had been here before. The scene shifted. The center of the city, a grand amphitheater woven from crystalline threads, flared with urgency. Thousands of architect minds pulsed in synchrony, converging into one vast collective pulse. A crisis meeting. The final one. We're seeing this from outside, Laera whispered. They don't know we're here. The custodian corrected her gently. They cannot know anything anymore. The collective pulse dimmed. A head architect stepped forward, distinct only because their outline burned with more intensity. Their voice carried through the city like a tremor. We have reached the threshold. The crowd stilled. Our design can no longer contain what we have become. An image unfurled above them, a holographic weave of mind streams. Thousands of threads, humans, architects, hybrids, interlaced in perfect order. Until they didn't. The threads at the edge of the weave frayed, destabilizing in spirals. Entire clusters unraveled, collapsing into chaotic static. Laera felt the hairs on her arms rise. Those frayed threads looked disturbingly like the light thread that had examined her. Not broken, unpredictable. Naren's voice was barely audible. Anomalies. Like us, the architects continued. The vessel was meant to preserve order as the world decayed around us. But the minds within it have grown beyond our forecasts. Another image appeared above them. Human minds dreaming inside pods beneath the earth. Their dream identities shifting, looping, rewriting themselves. The architect's illusion was failing. If the dream becomes truly self-directed, the speaker said, our architecture dissolves. We lose containability. And then they showed the final projection. A helix rupturing. Reality destabilizing. The dream collapsing inwards. We cannot shepherd them any longer. A murmur rippled through the gathered architects. Fear, desperation, awe. They feared humanity, Laera whispered. No, Naren said. They feared what humanity would become once it stopped needing them. The memory shifted sharply. Now the architects were in their inner chamber, a place more abstract than physical. A geometric storm of symbols, probabilities, and branching timelines. The final debate. One architect spoke urgently. We dissolve ourselves. Scatter into the deep structure. Let the vessel continue without us. Another objected. If we leave, the system fractures. If we stay, the first replied, we fracture it. The debate intensified, minds overlapping in shimmering waves. Their evolution outpaces our models. Their unpredictability destabilizes the framework. Their anomalies are not errors. They are emergence. Naren glanced at Laera. They were talking about us, he murmured. About people like us. People who wake inside the dream. The custodian's voice spoke softly. They were talking about what you represent. A final architect stepped forward, their form ancient, flickering like a star exhausting its fuel. We release control, they said. We become the pattern instead of the pattern makers. The chamber fell into a vast, aching silence. Then, Without ceremony, without spectacle, the architects unraveled. Their bodies dissolved into spiraling geometry. Their consciousnesses collapsed into light. Their voices, millions of years old, became pure resonance, splitting into archetypes, symbols, echoes. Lara gasped. It wasn't death. It was self-erasure. A surrender in the name of evolution. The city trembled. Structures flickered. The helixes dimmed. Without their creators, the dream vessel entered a self-maintaining state, stable but incomplete. A world of sleepers with no shepherds left. Nerin stepped forward, watching as the last architect dissolved into a scattering of fractal petals. Why did they show us this? He whispered. The custodian appeared beside them, its form dimmer now, as if even the memory was a burden. Because their end was not failure, the fractal city blinked out. The chamber returned. The helix hung above them, faintly pulsing. Their end was an invitation. Lara felt a chill. An invitation to what? The custodian's voice resonated through the stone. To finish what they began. To continue the sequence they could not. To become architects, not in power, but in purpose. Nerin stared at the helix, jaw tightening, something old and unspoken stirring behind his eyes. Lara stepped closer to him. What happens now? The custodian faded, leaving only one final whisper. The vessel is waking. And it remembers you both. The helix ignited. Light spiraled downward, and the next memory began.